All right, we're continuing to paint our cleric of the party, Dell, and we're using a magic user figurine for it for the simple reason that it had a hawk, and our cleric has a pet hawk, so I thought it was great to integrate it. And the last time we worked on the cloak, so we're going to be putting a symbol on the back of the cloak or robe, and this is the cleric's symbol for his god Lathander. And because it's in such small scale, it may be hard to see, but this is just a sunrise path, so a path leading into a sunrise. And because the cloak is yellows and oranges, we're going to make it contrast with some blue. So starting out with a blue liner, and then we'll highlight up to a bright blue in set areas. But we really want this to just stand off from the cloak, so we're not going to make it super bright all the way around. And all freehand, so a little rough. I apologize, and of course critiques are welcome. Dell, as he is just exploring the world beyond the court life that he has come to know, is starting to, I guess, believe a little bit more in the powers of Lathander. And while everything he does is for his worship in his name, it's more about glory for Dell than anything else. So as his divinity works through some of the things he's experiencing, it's kind of interesting to see the integration of the deity into his everyday life. And again, a great concept character, having that spoiled, kind of noble courtesan background, now out in the adventuring world trying to make it with just regular people and trying to survive the next day, but definitely focused on getting his name recognized as a major part of the Temple of Lathander. And again, the colors and concepts, I think because the player's favorite color is yellow, utilizing yellows in a big way in the Morning Lord's color scheme on the robe was a great opportunity to tie that back to the player. And today we're also going to be working on the boots and then the staff. And we'll save the belt for a little bit, that way we have something to work off of when we're doing the hawk. Because while those paints dry on the back of the cloak, we can move and paint something else rather than having to sit and watch paint dry, which is always a labor. But for the boots, of course, we painted them with a base coat of leather and then gave them a brown wash. Now we're just going back in with that base coat of leather, and then we'll highlight it with a bit of khaki so that there is some good contrast from the worn areas of the boot. The areas that get the most wear will show the, I guess, cleanest or lightest color of leather as it wears down from the more tanned hide look. And Dell, of course, having that kind of background, he has not yet really gone through and felt spoiled to where he needs to spend a lot of the treasure that they've been earning. So he's not updating clothing, armor, anything like that. He really depends on his teammates to keep him out of harm's way, and does not think that he'll need better armor or weapons or anything like that. He's got good faith in his compatriots, who he doesn't yet recognize as equals or even superior to himself, but as a means to an end, servants, if you will, who are pretty much beneath him because they're not lords or ladies and they don't have titles. And in his view, he is the highest ranking person in the group just by status. So definitely some very interesting RPG aspects for the players to kind of go through and role play through and establish that kind of pecking order. And it'll be interesting when it comes to a head. It has a couple of times a little bit, but not in a major way. The other characters have started to tire of Dell kind of looking down upon them, but the small confrontations they have not really resulted in Dell learning anything. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of shenanigans the other players come up with for Dell to get it ingrained in him that they are not his peasants and they are a vital part of his survival. Working on the staff again, it was challenging because this miniature is a wizard and not a cleric. I thought about changing out some of the things, but for my players' miniatures, I try to keep them as holistic as possible. If they decide not to use them at the table but just display them, I want it to be easily recognizable who the figure is and what manufacturer it's from. So I don't do a lot of conversion on these figures that I paint for my players. But again, I thought the bird was an important aspect, and then it turns out the way that Dell is in the game, not wanting to be that heavily armored cleric, really that showboatman type of courtesan works well with the clothing that this figure is wearing. And of course this figure is from Reaper. The paints, of course, are primarily Reaper paints, but I do use a little bit of Citadel as well as a little bit of older Relparthas. And Dell is the third party member that I am painting. So if you have not seen the previous ones, make sure you go back and check them out in the stream and watch for the upcoming miniatures to be painted. When we get the entire group painted, we will do a kind of reveal video of the entire party, and we'll make a really nice video of the party as a whole painted and based and all of that, so you can see the finished product and how they look in my mind's eye and on the game table via miniatures. And again, while these are not exact for their characters, it was just my way of first giving a thank you to the players for joining the campaign and being able to represent them on a table to where we can all have a visual aspect for gameplay. And overall, I think they've been coming out pretty decent with good bits where I'm able to interweave some of the in-game story elements into the miniature paint job, which I love to do. And I think the minis are representing the PCs pretty well on the game table. Of course, when we begin playing in person, they may bring their own minis and take these minis on and just display them at home or throw them in a bag, put them in the junk drawer, whatever. It doesn't bother me. Again, this is just a small thank you for my players. And Delwyn, because he is a cleric of Lathander, the area that they're exploring currently, there is an enclave of elves where Dell has been able to be treated to a number of free nights stay in temples via his worship of Lathander and the elves' worship of Lathander. So it's pretty nice. And we're just about done for this painting session. We'll have probably one or two more, but that is Dell with the symbol of Lathander, the boots, and the staff now all painted. Next time we'll be working on the belt and the hawk, and that'll finish out Dell, aside from the basing, which we aren't putting on video, but you'll be able to see the completed mini when it's all done. Thanks for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. Here's another video I think you might enjoy. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, and make sure to hit that bell so you get notifications whenever we post new videos. Help us answer the question of where will your adventures take you?